no one can touch them right now. So if I'm the rest of the lobby, I just want to see Sentinels wiped ASAP.
I want to see 19 squads left, and I want to see 3 Sentinels names in the kill feed being killed. That's the only way it seems to make the lobby happy at the moment, Dan, to be honest with you. But Sentinels just rolling from that momentum of game number 1 where they took home the win. Reptar deciding to, luckily, have the jetpack available there just to get back up to where he should have been. But Complexity been pretty decent so far. Haven't had that big pop-off game that we sometimes see from them. But they have looked pretty consistent, and I think a lot of that actually goes down to the practice schedule that they put in. They've had a real change of heart over the off-season. We know that, last season they weren't a bit averse to scrims. They didn't think it was great practice for them, but this year, completely different. They're playing absolutely everything.
Yeah, they finished in 2nd place in that game, and there was a chance that maybe they could have pushed a little bit further if it wasn't Sentinels they were going up against in the final circle. But certainly, yeah, the consistencies that have been there. In game 1, they struggled a little bit with just placement in general. Game 2, there was a time where they got knocked down to 2 people and they had to rat out a little bit later, but they seem to be doing the right things. They seem to be getting the job done and just doing the nitty-gritty things you need to do sometimes, which is sometimes surviving with just 2 of you, sometimes ratting out as a solo, knowing when to go for the banner, when not to go for the banner. It is all very important that you pick and choose and decide to make those decisions at the appropriate times.
I think one team that's obvious to watch is Sentinels, right? I mean, they've been astonishing so far, like I mentioned. But at the other end of that argument, Dan, is NRG. Where are NRG? Because they haven't turned up so far today. Really struggled in those opening 3 games. And you can't really say that the zones have been too bad for them either. This one's going to be down on the southern side of the map as well. They are going to be traveling over from staging. So there'll be being a lot of teams to position. But I can't quite put my finger on at the moment what's not quite clicking for them in those first 3 games.
Well, if you guys were watching the EMEA broadcast, you would have learned that I'm from the future and I predict things perfectly. There's a reason why I didn't choose NRG in my predictions. Now, honestly, I'm listening.
I'm listening. Now you got to back it up.
I'm with you, Mark, because usually from what we've seen from NRG, from the history of NRG, and for the way that they usually play, we expect a lot more. But it hasn't been there for them in these games so far. The positioning's been all right. They've been rotating pretty well, but they've been getting caught out here or there. They've maybe been unexpectedly being pushed by other teams, and they haven't really been prepared for that. Perhaps that's just a lack of knowledge from the other teams that are in the lobby, or they are expecting lobbies to play too similarly to scrims, so they're not ready for what's actually been the outcome. There's various different things that could be the reason, but I think ultimately they're just not playing well enough right now, and I think even they would say that they need to step it up going into Game 4 here.
We're looking at the NRG lineup here for Game 4. It seems that it's swapped back to a more comfortable composition for them, one that's brought them all the success in the past, and that is, of course, the Octane, the Bloodhound, and Gibraltar. So going back to what works is sometimes the smartest thing to do, and that's exactly what NRG have done. Lazarus now moving towards Countdown, moving inside of this building, and they're going to be pretty comfortable for quite a long time. Estral Esports, not so comfortable, as Vaxilon is going to be hitting very, very hard with that scout and getting the first knock of the game, and it looks like over here, the rest of his teammates are trying to move up onto these final 2 players to secure the KP, or at least secure that single one so they can get that on the board.
That's always the downside of just getting caught out and getting absolutely peppered in the backside, is that you have no chance of getting away in a lobby like this when you've got players just hitting their shots and not missing. Vaxilon ensuring that he just dealt the final blow, and quite rightly, Renegades pushing up to try and finish things off. As I say about being finished off, Ghost Gaming will be the first squad to be fully eliminated, and that is at the hands of NRG. So NRG now not being the first team to fall, but look how close they were to doing so. If they'd lost that 3v3, they would have been down at the bottom of the barrel once again. But now perhaps this can be enough to project them into a better momentum that they so desperately need.
Sometimes it's just that one fight. Right? It's just one fight that goes your way, that you win and you feel confident, and all of a sudden it's like, okay, who's next? We're back on track, we're hitting our shots, and all of a sudden the flow is there, the comms are there, all that kind of stuff that seemed to have disappeared from the kind of NRG inventory, if you like, in those first 3 games, does come back. But Noble, who have been playing pretty well today, you have to say they've had some good zones to play as well. Just that execution in the final zones not quite got them that win as yet, but it does look like the zone's going to be moving towards launch site, maybe down on that lower platform. So we'll have to see how these teams do try and approach things. It looks like Noble trying to move in now from the southwestern side, or southeastern side, excuse me, here on World's Edge.
I've certainly been impressed with how Noble... Oh, hello. Thank you very much. I've been impressed with how Noble do position themselves throughout the few games we've seen so far. They have a very good knowledge of kind of zones and where they want to be holding, where they think is one of the priority positions. As you say, just struggled in that final circle. But for the most part, as long as they're finishing top 3, top 4, if they can find that consistency, you're still going to be there or thereabouts when it comes to that final discussion of finishing within the top 3, 4 points at the end of the week and putting yourself in a great spot as the weeks go on here in Pro League. But, you know, a win could come. That's all they need, is that little bit of a clutch factor. That's really what has let them down. So I'm expecting them to progress well as the Pro League goes on. They've certainly shown signs that have really impressed me so far.
Torrent in a little bit of a sticky spot here as well. Arcane having to burn the bubble, and they're going to have to retreat now to this trailer just outside of Lava Siphon as they try and make their rotation. And rotation is something that they've struggled with so far today, Torrent. We've seen them numerous times be caught. The last game, they kind of had a little bit more success getting towards that end zone, but it just seems to be something missing a little bit. Maybe the routes they're taking are just a little bit obvious, a little bit clear, and not really going from point A to point B with enough cover. Again, another thing we'd have to watch a little bit more of just to kind of come up with a full answer for it, but really struggling. First game, Valkyrie, really going wrong for them, just kind of throwing things away completely. Second game, again, caught in that rotation. Third game, seemed to get things together. We'll have to see if they can really put together a run here in game 4.
Certainly judging by social media and the response from Arcane himself, that he said they got really unlucky in game 2, for example. It was just an unfortunate way to go down. And sometimes that is the way the cookie can crumble. In a lobby this tightly contested, in a lobby where everyone is rotating this at the same time, when you've got 20 squads still left in zone 4, zone 5 type thing, then you are sometimes just going to get unlucky with the way that the zone pulls, or unlucky with 2 teams accidentally collapsing on the side of you. It's about picking yourself up and keeping the mental strong so that then you move on to the next game and you suddenly find a victory, and you suddenly make sure you are actually going to be a team that people fear and not a team that people are just going to step over when it comes to the rotation. With round 1 closing though, we have seen a few players drop here or there, and of course one team has gone out already. But one of the teams who is looking to try and take an engagement here is Era Eternity, another surprise team for me so far here in NA Pro League.
Good performance from them in that game, number 2, taking home that win. And you can see they're just trying to finish off these last 2 players, the duo under the bridge, but just can't overextend because it's going to be Torrent who's in that truck still to their left. So playing this one very smartly. There's the knock though onto Tempest, and once again the Rampage is a weapon we're seeing become more and more viable, to be honest with you. Teams are starting to work it out. Albrelli, you know, he's an absolutely massive fan of it, especially when you can shove a thermite up it and really get that thing going. But you can see the effectiveness it has, just kind of suppressing players from distance down. It harasses you.
It is a weapon that in the right hands is very scary and very deadly indeed. There's an overview of the circle and the lay of the land. A lot of teams setting up in Lava Siphon, teams just to the west of Lava City in that vault area, as well as launch site being a focus point for many of these teams. But it could be a circle that finishes in between all of those in some open area, which is quite difficult to play. But teams with Gibraltar, of course, are going to be certainly benefited if it does move that way, but it could shift to either of those POIs. That's why we're seeing teams kind of spread themselves out here, hoping they get that guess right, but we'll get more of an indication when the next beacon is scanned.
We were discussing before things kicked off today about some of the zones that finish around Lava Siphon and how they do seem to pull towards the southern side of it. Not very often they finish up and around the buildings. It's more in this open, rocky kind of geometry that does find itself being occupied by Era Eternity and the likes of Torrent. Unlucky though, in a little bit of a difficult spot here, as Osenpai's going to have to get that bubble down just so he can scarper away and get Gibraltar's body up that hill and back to his teammates and into a little bit more high ground. They'll have control of these snake buildings on the outside. Pretty good place to hold up for now for them as they get from the low ground back up to high. So they're going to be pretty comfortable as they can plan their next move.
Is it O Senpai or is it Oi Senpai?
I think it depends if it's North America. If it was Europe, it'd be Oi Senpai. You know what I mean? But yeah, I get that.
So the Valkyrie is available for them if they want to use it, but at the moment their position isn't particularly bad here, unlucky. They can kind of watch on and see everyone rotating in. They can gatekeep those. They have been scanned, so they know full well there is a Bloodhound team in or around the area, but it's just about where they're going to get pushed from if they're going to get pushed here. Certainly have the ability to defend themselves quite well with the caustic, and you know, the charge rifle just doing charge rifle things.
Ow!
Is he ever going to miss? I don't think so.
You know what? It just reminds me of having sunburn when I see people getting melted by this thing. I've been there. I'm a fair-skinned man. I know how it feels when you're out in the sun for more than 20 minutes. It's horrible, and that's exactly how the people are going to be feeling on the receiving end of this charge rifle. But no knock just the shields being broken, but charging up those Evo shields all the same, so vital. And something that, if you're playing a lot of competitive Apex, you'll understand how vital that is, that damage, especially when you get towards that end game.
Well, just like on set applying suntan lotion, the team's just applying
Generously.
shield bats
Generously.
as quick as possible.
Layers of the stuff.
Cells being popped faster than Mark puts it on top of his head as NRG now will be diving in because they've managed to get a knock here. Sweet getting the initial damage. And do they actually push on this one? They're very tempted to, but you don't need to. You can do damage right from across here. Now you rope over if you actually manage to successfully get onto the rope anyway. They do have to fall, they have to dip down, but they still want to take this fight.
Yeah, Sweet's going to get the finish on one, though, so they will be moving across. However, by making that move down to the low ground, you can see that Rocket's had to burn the bubble now. A Phoenix kit going to be popped by both Sweet and Rocket to make sure they're full HP. Nathan's going to be using this time to pop an ultimate accelerant as well, but that's going to give a tiny little line of sight to someone. And with 19 squads around, you know, there's going to be multiple people trying to focus here on NRG.
The difficulty is for NRG as well, when you are literally bottom. Oh, he's been able to get some good shields. At least that's all right. I thought he was going to be down without any hope whatsoever. When you are NRG and you're bottom of the lobby, you haven't been able to find anything in the first 3 games. You're in game 4, and suddenly you're caught with your pants down a little bit in no man's land. You start to think, oh god, it's going to be another one of those games. Confidence is going to be really lacking in this squad. They need something to give them that push. They won that initial gunfight, yes, but now look at their positioning. They're rotating late here. They very much could be running into 2, if not 3 teams as they approach this circle.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough rotation for them. Let's jump into a listening now with NRG and see how the comms are and what that next move might be.
Good job, by the way. I shredded that kid on the fucking zip.
Yeah, sounded like 100.
All right, we need to look for that duo. All right, this team's here. Or we can walk in here.
I'm making sure.
Could be below.
I have no bats if you guys have any.
I have 2.
Toronto?
Okay. All right, we can play for a tunnel too here. Who's longbowing and where from? Who is shooting that longbow right now?
19 squads, by the way.
Oh, they're on this ramp right here. Yo. We might be able to walk up on this.
We're gonna shop at the whole server.
Yeah, okay. Hey, listen, we're gonna jump down and peek them from the 2nd story of this fucking bridge, and we're gonna pad back up if it's bad, okay?
Yeah.
They're all just sitting on this bridge, not looking our way at all. It's no-coing them. Jump down now. Get to the peak of the bridge and shoot these kids in the back. Focus the Gibby, okay?
3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1. Call it.
Yeah. Ready? All right, Gibby's shooting right now. That scout, ready? Gibby on the left. All right, ready? 3, 2, 1. 1 HP. Nice. I'm walking up on this. He isn't rezzing. We're just wait. He caustic ulted right on top of me. I'm out of it.
I'm good.
Valk low ground right here.
They're running. 40 on the fucking caustic. Get the full kill.
Valk's on me.
No, he flew away.
I got the full kill. Just play slow now. This team to our fucking north might be walking up the 3rd. They are there. Come to me.
I'm here.
They're not here close, but they're on the roof still. Here.
Valk got away.
It's fine. We have 2 duos somewhere near us, though. We need to remember that. Abuse bloodhound on them and wipe them.
They're in like the field to our left, in the zone somewhere.
We need to hold this team and then walk in. I'm with you, Nate.
I'm just grabbing the old 6 cell.
Okay, I have 1 bat, 8 cells. Yeah, we're gonna walk in along this field.
On the left side?
Yes. Well, kind of just wherever we can find. Yeah, I think fucking
And that is a perfect example of top-tier communication, Dan. You heard the calls coming in from Sweet. Teammates didn't even question it. They 3-2-1 the Gibby in the back. They create an opportunity for themselves. They turn a 3v3 into a 2v3, and they take the spot away.
It's how he turned just an audio cue of who's firing that longbow, where is that longbow to, suddenly realizing where that team was, where that team is looking. Does that team know where they are? No, they don't. Let's make sure we drop down here so then we can get a clear visual, get the knock, and then we can take the position off them. So not only did they plan a rotation, not only did they get some KP, but also they were able to gain so much information as to where other teams were. It was just executed really nicely from them. Very simple, but great to have that insight and great to hear that communication from them. But now it's about where they go from here. They need to find themselves within the circle, but also with cover so that they're not targeted by the majority of the lobby. Because we've got 17 squads left, and you'd imagine that probably about 10 of them are already pretty much central zone right now, and they're going to be looking out.
Tell you what, NRG are in a pretty good spot right now. They've got control. Yes, they're on the low ground, and they will have to find a way to go up. But Hero Eternity are the team who are above them. They've got opportunities to pick up KP in front of them. However, that team just Valco in late might have just slowed things down and made this a little bit more difficult here for NRG, as all these teams now going to have to rotate out from Lava Siphon down onto this dusty land, which is just outside of launch site. This is going to be the lobby getting cut down very, very quickly from 16 squads.
A team Valking in and making things difficult for everyone else in the lobby. Who'd have thought it? It seems to be happening a lot here, but that one team is certainly shredded now. Bowser going huge with a Rampage, does have Eva 8 in the back pocket, needs to be careful though, has to back off and requires support from the rest of the team. Torrent have been taken down elsewhere. I think they finished in 16th spot, so they don't get the one placement point for top 15, but certainly things starting to heat up in this lobby now.
And who was that took down Torrent? It was NRG. NRG picking up yet more KP and more momentum in this game number 4, exactly what was needed. And what the doctor ordered. Xenox is going to be doing work for Sentinels once again. He takes down McNuggy, but I had to point that out. I've always wanted to say that sentence. And Sentinels now make their move. They're padding up to the high ground as well. It looks like they're going to try and overlook what their next move is going to be.
It is true. 6 years ago, me and Mark were casting together. He said, hey, Dan, one day I really want to say McNuggy Bar on cast.
dream.
And I said, I will join you. So I've said it as well. But Sentinels now laying down the fire from above here. And they could really be a thorn in the side of so many of these teams because they're going to be oozing confidence. They're going to be playing with no fear whatsoever, just wanting to destroy the rest of the lobby because they are on an absolute tear. But Xenox has to be careful.
Xenox has to be careful, but here comes a push now, and it's down to Tech Candy, the last player alive. The Sentinels are going to move in as well, and that's going to be Lou cleaning up the damage done with that Peacekeeper. And once again, Sentinels just don't seem to be missing shots. Even though they've got a tough move to make in 10 seconds or so, it looks like they've recognized that. And they're thinking about wiping the lobby in front of them, picking up as many KP as possible.
Complexity fall in 13th spot. Era Eternity have lost 2, if not 3 by this point as well. So NRG and the likes of Sentinels have really just been running through teams down in this area and making it very awkward for them indeed. Down to just 12 squads now. But look at the amount of KP that is there on the NRG side. Just looking at one player, I mean, there's already 8 KP, probably more. I would imagine around 10. So if they can push their way into the top 5 here, they could very much get themselves not just on the bottom of the leaderboard, but to the top half of the leaderboard as they pick up even more KP here.
Sweet Dreams tucks someone in and says goodnight. Now he's going to be moving up to that bubble. Another player just lacking behind in the zone. All sorts of damage going down. Sweet going down. NRG going down. As 9 squads find themselves left in this lobby. Sentinels have managed to rotate through. However, Lou's got a player in front of him. However, he's got a Peacekeeper to work with as well. And Lou will clear the way for Sentinels.
Sentinels just keep rolling. Nothing seems to be able to stop this Sentinels train. NRG went down in 10th, but they went down with a bang. Plenty of KP. That's the points they needed. Lazarus, another team I've been very impressed by throughout every single game. Their positioning, their rotations, they've been spot on, and they're consistently finding themselves in the end game here. They do have a little bit of movement to get across, but they're shooting onto Sentinels at the moment. Sentinels really struggling to stay alive now. Surely the dream is over. There's not going to be back-to-back wins here as Xenox, the last remaining player.
Top 6 though, already top 6. And it might become something even better as well. If Xenox can stay alive and let the other teams do the work. It's in a difficult spot though. You can see that Benchwarmers are trying to focus on them, and Benchwarmers are a team who came through the qualification and really had to work hard to do so. A win for them here would fill them with confidence as well. We've got members of tournament winning teams previously making up this lineup as well. We have 24 seconds left now until these 6 teams are going to be forced together once more.
I mean, Benchwarmers, it's kind of the perfect name for them, isn't it? Because they're kind of 3 players who are mismatched, who have maybe been mistreated by other teams, maybe could have been on even better teams and stayed there, but instead find themselves all teaming together, and I think they could be a real force to be reckoned with. As you say, during playoffs, they were very impressive, managed to get their way here to qualify, and now they're within the top 6, and they've got a full complement of health, and they are close enough to the circle here that this could be a top 5, if not more, if they play this one correctly.
Bubble going to go down from Noct, and there's going to be a skyward dive here. This is a risky play for them, but they're going to have to make it work. Keep an eye on Madness's HP at the bottom left-hand side of your screen. He's the player who is controlling where this dive will land, and it doesn't look like there's much real estate to play with, to be honest with you, Dan. It's going to be a tough landing here. It might be a little bit of a rough landing, as Noct will fall, Madness will fall, and Rambo finds himself on a solo mission.
Oh, that was more than just turbulence there. That was very much a crash landing. Noble were on the other side. They managed to take down 2. The last remaining player doesn't really have a hope in hell of staying alive. But if the bubble can come up, actually no, it's not the giving it alive. Never mind. Noble should be able to finish things off now after they get rid of the shields. But Xenox is going to be joining things and making sure that Noble are not going to be able to easily stop doing this. What are you doing right now?
Oh my
Does eventually
God.
go down, but boy does he make this a scary lobby.
Xenox versus the world, we've just seen, and he almost managed to completely wipe a team off the face of World's Edge with that Kraber in his hand. I don't know how the man does it, but he's playing some nutty Apex Legends as well as his teammates. They do fall, as now we find ourselves with 4 squads remaining. Make that 3, as Legacy MX, one of the Mexican lineup, are still involved in these final moments.
And somehow one member of Benchwarmers was still alive as well. Benchwarmers still very much in this, but now Legacy are going to take down those 2 remaining players. 2 squads left. Legacy just need to make sure they get the shield swap and make sure they reset here.
Pretty sure they've got this one in the bag as well. I'm pretty sure it's just a lone player alive. We'll have to check over and see if there is anyone still alive. It's going to be a full lineup. Renegades are still here. I thought I saw a player go down from Renegades. I don't know if there's a Reds come in or if it's something that I just missed, but it's a straight 3v3. It's a shootout.
High ground over on the side of Legacy, though. Renegades are going to have to move into the high ground, and actually they say we're going to jump onto the high ground.
Standoff between the 2 teams. Good old-fashioned shootout, like a Western, is what we're going to see between the 2 teams. Now, Legacy up on top. Renegades down on the low ground. And it looks like the way this zone is moving at the moment, it might be Legacy who are forced to drop first. They also have the option of defensive bombardment. Renegades to try and force them down, although the bubble will counteract that. So, it'll be very interesting to see how this one plays out. Do Legacy have grenades to play with? Can they get that initial damage to make that drop a little bit easier?
There is a little bit of utility to play with, a few grenades here or there. They've got plenty of meds as well. Legacy certainly have the high ground and the best position right now. On the other side for Renegades, they have to play this one perfectly. They really need to be patient. They need to try and deal a little bit of damage as the other team drops. And if they can do damage as Legacy falls or just isolate one of the players, they can turn this into a 3v2 very quickly. Remember, bubbles on both sides means that this could just be a bubble off when both teams drop.
I think this might be the caustic ult that's going to make the difference, or maybe it's just going to be a thermite starting to tick away at the shields here of Pow Pow, having to pop some shield cells, just trying to keep a line of sight as well, as Joe Max is going to take a lot of damage. Tick damage coming in as well. You can see the thermite is doing all of the work here. The bubble being forced as well. Legacy now make their move, but they lose the first player in this fight. Renegades are going to look good, but not as good as Legacy. They managed to clutch things up, and I tell you what, Mexican lineup are going to be feeling extremely proud of themselves right now.
Usually I'd say it's inevitable at that point when you have that high ground, when you have that positioning over another team, but how many times have we seen a position like that thrown away or